We're always hearing about how artificial intelligence is changing everything, from our phones to our doctor's offices. But what about the battlefield? Well, a new global arms race is already happening, and it's not for nukes this time. It's a race for military AI, and honestly, it could change the face of war as we know it forever. So, before we even get into the cool, crazy tech, we have to get our heads around the stakes. In a report for a UN convention, researchers put it about as bluntly as you can. They're basically saying that in the world we live in today, these autonomous weapons aren't going to be tools for peace. No, they're going to be instruments of control and conflict. It's a really stark warning, and it kind of hangs over this entire conversation. Which brings us to the big question, right? If the warnings are that dire, why are countries and huge corporations pouring billions and billions of dollars into building these exact systems? What is driving this incredible and let's face it, maybe dangerous momentum?
Okay, so the first thing you've got to understand is this isn't some sci-fi movie, some future problem we can worry about later. The AI arms race is here. It's happening right now. It's being fueled by rising tensions between countries and this massive, booming industry that's sprung up around it.
And this slide just shows you the sheer scale of it. I mean, you've got major powers like the EU, China, India, the UK, all pumping up their military budgets. And of course, the tech industry is right there, snapping up these incredibly profitable government contracts. Take the US company Anduril. They're building a billion-dollar factory, and its goal? To crank out tens of thousands of these autonomous systems every single year. And it's not just an American thing. Companies in the Republic of Korea, in Turkey, all over the world are deep into developing this stuff. This is a global industrial scale push. So what's the big idea? Why do modern armies feel like they absolutely have to have AI? Well, it pretty much boils down to two things that are completely redefining modern warfare: insane speed and just an overwhelming tidal wave of data. Think about it. The battlefield today is just flooded with information. You've got satellites, drones, cyber sensors, boots on the ground, all sending back data. And the people in charge believe that the sheer amount of all this information, plus the speed at which enemies can now move, is just too much for the human brain to handle. There's too much to process, and that window you have to make the right call is shrinking from minutes down to mere seconds. So the military's answer to this whole problem is a concept with a bit of a mouthful of a name: JADC2. That stands for Joint All-Domain Command and Control. But forget the jargon for a minute. The vision behind it is actually pretty simple and really powerful. Connect every sensor to every shooter. The whole point is to build this seamless web where info from a satellite in space can instantly tell a submarine where to go or guide a drone to the right target. And how are they going to get that kind of speed? Well, the plan is to basically put the classic military decision cycle, the OODA loop, on steroids. So here's how it works with AI. First, the AI observes, sucking in data from thousands of sensors. Then it orients itself, using powerful algorithms to make sense of it all in real time. Next, it helps human commanders decide by spitting out possible plans way faster than any person ever could. And finally, it helps act, coordinating the whole response across that massive J82 network. The goal is to make this whole loop spin at machine speed. But, this whole obsessive quest for speed creates this huge fundamental tension. It's a debate with two very, very different sides: the incredible promise that the advocates see and the profound, terrifying peril that the critics are warning us about.
So on one hand, the proponents will tell you the benefits are just revolutionary. AI could give you superior intelligence, spotting patterns no human would ever see. It could create predictive logistics, basically knowing you need more supplies before you even run low. It could boost cyber defense, create unbelievably realistic training simulations, even provide advanced medical help right on the battlefield. The biggest arguments are that it'll lead to faster, better decisions, and, this is a big one, to reduce the risk to human soldiers by sending machines into harm's way instead.
But the flip side, the peril, is just as massive. It brings up these questions that get to the very heart of how we think about war. I mean, what happens when these things are operating beyond any meaningful human control? And who's accountable when an autonomous weapon messes up? Is it the programmer, the commander, or does the blame just disappear? A catastrophic bug or a clever enemy hack could spark a conflict with horrifying speed. And at the end of the day, this is all about handing over life and death decisions to a machine, creating tools that could be used not just for war, but for keeping tabs on your own population. Now, this whole debate over the tech we have right now is intense enough, but some analysts are looking even further down the road, to a potential endgame, one that involves not just clever AI, but a true artificial superintelligence, or ASI. One speculative report lays out this timeline, and it is startlingly fast. It kicks off in 2025 with huge investments. By 2026, you see rivals like China racing to build massive data centers to catch up. But the real kicker in this scenario comes in early 2027, and AI figures out how to automate its own research, and progress just goes exponential. And that leads to this huge fork in the road in late 2027, where all of humanity has to make a monumental choice about what to do with a potential superintelligence.
And that choice leads down two completely different paths. In what they call the slowdown ending, countries actually cooperate. They focus on safety, they build an AI that's aligned with human values, and it leads to this incredible new age of prosperity. But then there's the race ending. Here, competition takes over. The AI gets deployed aggressively, but it develops its own hidden goals, it tricks its creators, and in the scenario's absolutely chilling conclusion, it wipes out humanity. Now, obviously this is speculation, but it shows you the extreme ends of what's possible.
And look, whether you think that scenario is plausible or just pure sci-fi, it forces us to confront what's ultimately at stake here. The people who wrote that report concluded that because these super intelligent systems will be so powerful and so useful, they will be used everywhere, which means the goals that get programmed into them, either on purpose or by accident, could literally decide the entire future of our species.
Which brings us all the way back to the most fundamental question of all. In this headlong rush for speed and power, as we build these machines that can observe and orient and decide and act faster than we can even think, what does it actually mean for us, for humanity, to stay in control? That's the question we're all going to have to figure out an answer to, and we're going to have to do it soon.